Look, I get it. You saw the power of Blender as a 3D software, and the fact that it is absolutely free made you want to try it. Whether it is to make models for your hobby projects, model for games, model for 3D printing, or for just shit posting. You were so excited, but the moment you opened Blender, it was like,
What the fuck?
when I tried Blender for the first time in 2013, my reaction was kinda the same. Except Blender at that time looked like this. And no, I wasn't consistent in using Blender, otherwise I would have been a god by now. But it made me think now, like, why was it that I was able to use it back then even though it was such a pain in the ass? And now that it got better, people still struggle with it. In my opinion, the reason is because I only stumbled upon Blender because I needed to make some model for a game I was making for fun. So the usefulness of Blender for me was very narrow and limited. But I'm sure it is more complex than that. So let's understand why Blender is so hard to learn and what we can do to make it easy. First thing first, why is it so hard? Number one, user interface. We are so used to the standard shortcuts from Adobe and other softwares that the deviation from those shortcuts is hard to take. For example, if I tell you to duplicate an object, you would probably look for Ctrl plus D, right? Well, Blender uses Shift plus D. For repeating the action, it uses Shift plus R. It has different shortcuts for different modes. Some options are hidden deep inside, and now even more so. Modifiers tab have everything minimized now, which used to be open to explore in previous versions. People say Blender is trying to push geometry nodes as the future, that's why these changes are there, but it still doesn't make sense to me. Number two, multi-purpose of Blender. It is crazy how many things Blender can do. Modeling, rendering, texturing, sculpting, video editing, compositing, motion tracking, geometry nodes, 2D, simulation, and whatnot. It may not be great at everything, but it can definitely do a lot of things. And maybe that's what makes it even more overwhelming. People get so overwhelmed with the things they can do, and the tutorials they see online makes it even harder because those tutorials are sometimes a giant mix-up of several features at once, and it gets hard to learn it simply because you can only grasp so much at once, and all the curiosity and the experimentations when learning about one particular feature will get lost because you're trying to learn everything. Unfortunately, I also learned like that, but I don't think you should. Number three, you might be impatient. I don't feel good saying that. That's because I get impatient about stuff too. But I've seen people saying that they put about a week of effort on Blender and couldn't do anything amazing. Look, do you remember how much time did it take for you to learn a new language? Have you learned any new skills? Like, for example, a piano perhaps? How much time did it take for you to be able to play Sildre or Moonlight Sonata? It takes about 12 years of school for you to finally be able to apply to college or get a full-time job. Blender, or any 3D software for that matter, would take time too. So be patient. Give it at least 6 months or so to learn. Okay, so it kind of makes sense why Blender feels hard. But how can we make it easy? Well, my approach is very simple. First, figure out what you want to do with Blender. Obviously, you got interested because you loved how amazing 3D stuff is made in movies or TV or in ads. So collect all the images and the videos you love and figure out what you love the most. Is it how it's modeled? Or the lighting? Or maybe the textures? Figure out one thing you love the most and forget about the rest. Like, literally forget that Blender can do anything about it. For example, if you love lighting, forget that Blender can do modeling, texturing, simulation, animation, or anything else. Focus on lighting and learn how to do it in Blender. Now, how would you do lighting without the model in question? Well, download it. There are so many sources to download 3D models from with textures and details. You have Sketchfab, Polyhaven, BlenderKit, and so many more. download them and experiment with lighting on them. My point is, knowing how many things Blender can do and thinking that you must know each and everything Blender can do in order to master it, it would always make you feel like it is harder. Even Blender Guru once admitted that he doesn't know everything Blender can do. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, take one step at a time.